So we have two trailers that dropped, and I didn't want to take time away from Saturday or Sunday because we're doing Kingdom Hearts, and I didn't want to wait till Monday because by then Monday again is jam packed, and then we don't have enough time for Vinland Saga and Naruto Shippuden, and then Bleach as well as Jujutsu Kaisen. So let's not like flood Monday. Let's instead just watch the two trailers now, and the two trailers are Resident Evil 4 Remake DLC Separate Ways, which is something which we've sort of been expecting since the release, because let's face it, it's part of the original game and it's a really fun part. And then, of course, like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So, first on Resident Evil Separate Ways, we did play the OG Resident Evil 4 just before Resident Evil 4 Remake came out. I personally really do like Separate Ways because it's a lot more jam-packed. It's a lot more action-oriented. You get all your weapons super quick, and it's just like bam, 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 super fun, happy time. If you played the whole Resident Evil 4 game, you kind of have a lot of story, you have a lot of Ashley, you have a lot of puzzles, a lot of this, a lot of that. Whereas Separate Ways is you jump into the action. It's a lot quicker. The boss fights come at you. The scenarios come at you. The weapons come at you. It's just fun. It's just, overall fun. And it's also going to be, pretty good to play a lot more than just Leon. You've obviously had the four characters in the Mercenaries mode. And then now that Ada's like officially in Separate Ways, you can pretty much add it to Mercenary mode for the fun of it. Because, the more characters in Mercenary mode, the more fun Mercenary mode is. I personally still listen to the Mercenary mode music whenever I'm in the gym and I'm jogging or something. I just put on Hunk's theme and I just go for it because it's very energetic. It's got a very good beat and it just like drives you to go. I did sort of overdo it one time. I kept running to the theme, which was good, but then the next day I effed up my calf muscles. So, don't overdo it. But that being said, it's still good music. So let's check out the DLC trailer. Obviously, we're going to finish Birth by Sleep this weekend, which means by the time Separate Ways comes out the week after, we're going to be able to stream it. So it's almost like we planned it. But like, look, the timing couldn't be better, honestly. We were going to end up playing Resident Evil 6 anyway, but instead we get Resident Evil 5 Separate Ways. Sorry, Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways. We finished Resident Evil 5 the other week. So it's like, the timing couldn't be better, honestly. Like, the timing is just phenomenal. It's almost rigged. That's how good the timing is. So, yeah, we're going to check it out in like 2 weeks. Oh yeah, and they're releasing it in VR. How fun. This game in VR, F my life. I mean, it'll be good, but,
No fucking way.
Yeah, this would be fun in VR. This will be fun in VR, like... Oh, Kimbo, are you serious?
Think you can swallow me whole, huh?
See, the OG Resident Evil 4, the number one complaint people have is that it plays like a shooter. And if you're playing this game in VR, you have to be a little bit more lax when it comes to taking damage and the amount of ammo that you get. Because you're not going to be as precise with timing in VR as you're going to be in third-person mode. So I think it's okay to give a little bit more ammo just to let the player, kind of shoot their way through Resident Evil 4 VR. Yeah, basically. And I like it. It's not going to be perfect, right? It's not going to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But it's going to give lots and lots of data to Capcom so they can improve their VR experience. And as more and more games come out, more and more of them will come in VR and they'll get better. So it's good. And not everyone's going to play it, and that's perfectly fine. But those that do, there's going to be a lot of data. There's going to be a lot of complaints too. People are going to complain. And honestly, I think that's good because that's constructive. Because that's valuable feedback on how to fix VR, particularly for survival horror games. And I would personally love to see stuff like Outlast in VR. Because you don't have to worry so much about the combat system, you just have to worry about the collision system. So the person can actually move really quickly in first person without getting tripped up on objects. If you can ace that, horror in VR will be the way to go. Like, horror in general is pretty scary, particularly when it's like surround sound headphones and you turn the lights off. But imagine being immersed in VR in survival horror. that would be the way. That would be the way to do it. Like, it'd just be insane. And there's only one way we're going to get to that. Lots and lots of adjustments. So this is good stuff. Resident Evil fans are eating really well.
This is Condor 1. President's daughter, Baby Eagle. It's likely she's in this village.
I'm seeing increased movement from Los Eliminados. Don't get careless.
Copy. Ada out.
What terrible actions will be done in its name, and who will pay its dark cost?
Find Lewis. Fetch me the amber.
Have you changed, Ada? Or are you just trying to use me again?
Because in this world, someone always pays.
There's someone who needs my help.
Best not to ask who or why.
It's what I researched for all these years, Ada. And I see the symptoms already showing in your eyes.
Great, so Ada's going to get infected as well in this one. Yeah, in the OG one, she never gets infected. Look, a lot of people complained about the VA for Ada. So much so that she deleted her social media presence after getting attacked. Like, to the point of, it was pretty bad. This could either work out very well or very bad for her. She can either pull it off and everyone's just going to have to, like, retract their complaint, or it can be worse and it's going to get 10 times worse. So it's kind of like double-edged sword right there. You know what I mean? At the same time, I'm not a purist in that the gameplay of Separate Ways needs to be the same. The OG Separate Ways wasn't like the most phenomenal experience ever, but given that it was a PlayStation 2 game, it was very good. So I really like if they take as much liberty with it as they did with the remake, because I think that they did the remake really, really well. And changing elements to improve them, 100% go for it. So I would absolutely love to have them change elements, gameplay dynamics, but it would also be nice if they keep the grapple hook mechanism the way that it was, but it would also be extra nice that if they changed it a little bit, similar to how they use the knife mechanic. They changed the knife mechanic that you can parry attacks, as well as adding a durability system so people couldn't abuse it like crazy, like in the original Resident Evil 4 remake. So it would be nice to see if they do something similar with the grappling hook system. Because one of the things that they really showed off in the original Resident Evil 4, but you couldn't necessarily do it yourself, was using it offensively. And by firing it into a wall, I remember one cutscene in particular, she pretty much like does a cartwheel away from 2-3 enemies, and then she uses the grappling hook, and then she engages the grappling hook, and then the line becomes tighter, and all the enemies in between the wall herself and the grappling hook pretty much just get flipped, like using it offensively as a weapon. It would be really cool, even if it's just a quick time event, to have something like that, just to add a little bit of flavor. I wouldn't mind that. And if this sort of trailer is hinting at anything, it's like, oh, Ada also got infected and she had to remove the infection, which never originally happened in Resident Evil 4, but it could sort of explain, besides just the Las Plagas, why she had to go to the island. And she was in that part of the island before Ashley and Leon even went to it, because, if you remember, she attacks Sadler in the original, she's up on the second floor, whereas in this one, she could have been like in the laboratory removing the Las Plagas, and then like on her way out, she encounters Sadler and whatnot, and she, blows them up with an RPG. You could easily weave it into the story if it makes sense. I don't mind them changing the story as long as the gameplay is fun. That's what I'm there for. But again, it could either be like a redemption for the VA, or it could just be a train wreck. And the same thing is going to be for Wesker, right? He had like one line at the end of Remake. He's going to have a lot more lines in this one. And so again, it's either going to go very well that people respond positively to the new Wesker, or everyone's just going to go crazy that they didn't get DC Douglas. So, it's like going to be one or the other. It's going to be one or the other. There's going to be very little middle ground. So, it's going to be interesting. Okay, looking up really quickly. Nice crabbling hook. I feel bad for her. I thought she did a fine job as Ada. It's going to be really interesting. Well, at this point, she doesn't have much to lose, so may as well give it all you've got. I honestly had no problem with the voice change with Ada. Same, I had no problem with the change. I thought she was fine. Yeah, so I think, like, the internet is the internet. I think they will sometimes just attack people. And what's this? Are they going to include them in the mercenaries? Yeah, Wesker's going to get included in the mercenaries. And of course, he's got the samurai edge, and I'm willing to bet he either gets the 357 or the Desert Eagle. Honestly, that's going to be fun. And it looks like Ada's got the SIG. It's 5.7. So, like, yeah. She's got the armor-piercing gun, and Wesker's got his standard memento from his days in Raccoon City. And of course, they changed the sunglasses. I like that they always go with the Oakley whisker, like, square glasses, but the frame keeps changing. So the OG ones were like Oakley's, but the glass lens itself looks similar, but they keep changing the frame. It drives me nuts, because I actually had the exact glasses that Wesker had in Resident Evil 5. I had an old pair, and then the lens started dying, and then Hutchin got me a new pair for my birthday, and then I accidentally left it in the car in New Zealand, so like, GG. And then I'm like, God damn it. So I just went to the hardware store, and I bought some glasses which can be used as protective eyewear, so they're pretty much ballistic. You can use them at a gun range, and they were like $30, and I'm like, these are awesome. And now I'm not scared of losing them. So lesson learned, don't spend $250 on sunglasses. Yeah. Look, I want to try the Mercenaries mode because it's fun as shit. Mercenaries mode is fun as shit. Hunk is broken. Like, Hunk is just broken. And I don't think you get a score, a higher score than you would with Hunk. But Wesker would be fun, particularly if he has the Resident Evil 4 gameplay mechanics of just being able to use the T-Virus. So, like, that'd be fun. God, if you're listening, help! What the f***? That wasn't help! That was like the opposite of helping me!